computer in. It had last week the microphone wasn't working.
That was me last time.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a dog who can't stand the door shut. You come and help. You come in to help.
Is she? Wait, I can't see her yet.
She's too low.
Oh, okay. Go back here. Bye. Have a good one. Shoot, I don't know how to get back to my waiting room.
You're asking the wrong person.
Here's Neil. Hi, Neil.
Hello.
There you are. Everybody's getting here shortly.
We're just the early birds.
Everyone healthy and safe?
Say again.
I said, is everyone healthy and safe?
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh. So this is my first Zoom meeting as host, so I think I'm getting it.
Good job.
Thanks. Guess I could take my mask off.
Yeah, I don't think we need masks.
No, I'm good. That's why we have Zoom. Okay, here's Nancy and Gwen.
Hello.
Hi there. Hey, Sam,
What?
put your screen down towards the dog. Let me see your puppy.
Oh, she's lying in the hallway now.
Oh, okay.
No, she's happy I opened the door for her. Otherwise, she'd been squeaking the whole time.
Aw. Well, I saw Kevin there for a second. Now I've lost him.
I see Gwen. You look like you're in like a regal office, Gwen.
No, that's the magic of like I'm like trying to adjust it so you can't see all the clutter. I'm in my room. It's all clutter filled. I don't even have a desk in my house.
I'm in my wife's office.
Nice.
Hello,
There you are. Hi.
Okay.
I'm here. You did good, Karen.
Thank you. Hi, Pete.
Hi, I'm in, huh? Okay, good.
Yes.
Did that all by myself.
Woohoo.
No.
I did have my camera staring into the light fixture, so hopefully that's better adjusted.
Looks good. How's the dog club, Pete? Are they back open or are they still?
Um, I don't know. I think they've gone insane.
Oh,
Yes,
that's an option.
they can't seem to agree on anything, and they do have rather, I guess you could say, ineffective leadership. And
Oh, okay.
even if they had effective leadership, nobody would listen anyhow. So I don't know. I just wait for somebody to tell me when it's time to start agility class, and then I'll do that. I think Karen's in the same boat.
I am.
Yeah.
I think my dog's put on a couple pounds without agility class.
Yeah, Karen is, Nancy has helped me quite a bit as far as giving me some good information and some good links and everything. And, you know, the only problem is I'm not really sure who's in charge as far as our committee goes. We just sort of have an ad hoc committee and I don't know, strange people.
It's been a long time since I've been over there, but we're in the market for a puppy, but now they're like, boy, they're a zillion bucks.
Yeah, what kind of dog you want?
The kids wanted something little. So we were thinking, oh, like a little mini schnauzer, but they're like $2,500. So I'm like, all right, how about a mutt? Like, but then even the mutt, so we're going to wait for a little while. Something,
Yeah.
the boys want something like a little lap dog. So
Yeah,
I'm not picky.
go over to the animal shelter and, you know,
Yeah.
pick out a good healthy puppy and
Yeah. That's what we'll probably do.
yeah.
They'll love it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Karen, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kevin.
Can you see me?
I cannot.
Okay.
Could turn all the right switches on, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, maybe you're better off. There I go.
Okay.
Kevin came
Oh.
home.
Had to start the video.
Yeah, there's a little right next to your mic.
Yeah.
Megan and Jake are here. I'm just waiting on Debbie.
Okay. Yeah, I just sent Debbie the meeting package. Apparently she didn't get the email.
Just now?
Yeah, I sent it to her probably 15, 20 minutes ago.
Did she get a Zoom invite? Am I using the wrong email?
I don't know.
Should I call her? What's her number? Hang on, I'll give her a call.
Do you need the number still?
Yeah, go ahead.
330
Mhm.
715 5457.
Voicemail, guys. Megan,
Yeah.
add your video. Hit your video button.
I'm sorry. I spoke to her a little bit earlier. She's showing a house and she said she would probably, potentially be a little bit late.
Oh, okay. So Kevin, you want to start?
Yeah, I think we might as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Once get going.
All righty, we'll get going here. I will have the secretary note the roll. I think Debbie's the only one missing right now. And Megan doesn't have a face.
I can't figure it out.
Oh, well, she'll come on board. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes of the June 16th meeting? Any additions or corrections? Have a motion to accept the minutes, please? Would
I
someone-
motion to accept.
I'm motion to accept.
I don't know who spoke up. Was that Jake? Did you make the motion?
Yes, I motion.
Okay, and who was the second on that?
I believe it was
Okay.
Neil.
Yeah, Neil seconded.
Oh, Neil seconded, okay. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the approving the minutes of the last meeting? Indicate by saying
Aye.
aye, yay, whatever. Okay, I guess we don't have any personal appearances. I don't see any strange faces on the screen.
Thank you.
Well, maybe there are a few strange faces. Oh, well. Incoming, we have, let's see, Crooked River Adventure. Yes, Kevin, you want to talk about that? I guess they want out of their contract.
Yeah, it was just the letter they sent us, and they noted some of the items in the contract that allow them to do this. Just because of COVID-19 and Kent State being closed, they just can't operate this summer.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue as long as it's okay with the law director. I mean, it's impossible to run the program, therefore the contract's probably void, so.
Yes.
Require a motion on that to relieve it or just let it go?
I think it'd probably be good to have a motion.
Okay,
At least we have it in the record.
so let's have a motion to allow Kent State to suspend their contract for suspend their operations for the canoe levy
Yeah, for 2020.
in 2020. Okay. We have a
Yeah,
second.
I'll
on
make
the
that
vote.
motion.
Okay, first on the motion, Neil made the motion, and who seconded it? Did someone second the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, Jake seconded the motion. Any further discussion on this? Does everybody understand what's happening with this canoe levy? I guess basically it means that Kent State will not able to operate the library and so they don't have to pay us and we don't have to pay them. So all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Everybody voted already? Okay. All opposed? Being no objection, we'll move on to the next item. Portage Bike and Hike Trail, leaf segment. We've got 2 incomings on that. You want to hold that off to the director's
We
report?
could, yes, we could just do that.
Then we have a outgoing correspondence on a memorial tree that was purchased for in the memory of Rita Thomas. I don't think we need to do anything with that. No questions on that? Why don't we move on to staff reports? Monthly revenue. Wow. Any questions or comments on monthly revenue? Other than the
No.
fact that where did it all go? Okay. How about expenditures?
Debbie's here now, guys.
Okay, we did spend some money. Any questions on any of our expenditures? I guess a lot of those would be refunds too, right?
Yes.
Okay, if there are no questions on expenditures, why don't we go to Sam's report?
Still the highest volume I've seen of everything in our parks in all these years. Nothing really exciting, which is kind of good.
Okay, all is well with Sam's staff and all?
So far,
That's good.
Yeah, by the way, I want to go on record. I was here and nobody was letting me in.
We're here. Yay.
Yeah.
Karen was in charge. Karen, you get one demerit.
Uh,
I thought you did a good job.
She's doing a great job, yes.
Okay. I guess you're pruning trees, right?
we're out on the Middlebury leg right now, pruning. Yes.
Okay. Do we have a chipper or do we use central maintenance?
No, we're not doing the super heavy pruning. We're just keeping everything back off the trail. So we don't have
Okay.
to really chip anything up.
Okay. So we're not doing any actual tree cutting then?
No.
Not tree cutting, but I noticed over at Loncoy Field, they finally pulled down or knocked down the soccer goal. And I guess that was something that years ago Park and Rec put up.
The old wood one?
There were soccer goals down at Loncoy Field. Because when we first started soccer, I don't know, maybe mid 80s, we had these big 4x4s.
Yeah, the old wood ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the one on the south side has been gone for a long time. And the one on the north side, I noticed, I was walking my dogs down there and I noticed that part of the support was sticking up. And by the time I got over by the building where they used to have the trailers connected, they have the remains of the soccer goal laying over there. So I don't know, since we had put it up, I don't know if Jim expects us to take it out or whether they're going to get rid of it or what.
I'm sure he'll let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that we could probably chop it up and get rid of it easier than them.
Yeah.
Biggest thing I've seen over there is a lawn tractor. But, oh well, I'm sure he'll let you know. Anything else for Sam? Okay, then why don't we move into Recreation Department report? Okay, Nancy?
The only thing I have is that we made the decision to cancel Art in the Park Festival, as I put in there, so. But we're gonna run the virtual Art in the Park August 1st to September 13th. We're gonna post all the artists on the website. And so people can go in on there and see who registered for the 2020 Art in the Park Festival.
Now for that virtual, will we advertise that? And
Yeah, we're gonna be able to put it out in our, we did put it in our newsletter, our July newsletter, and then we'll run it again August 1st newsletter.
now, is there a fee for them for that, getting on that, or we're just doing this?
We're just doing it.
Okay.
I mean, because it's really not costing us anything.
Okay.
So
What's your reaction to it so far?
everybody's been very appreciative.
Yeah, I would imagine that the artists themselves have been going through a lot of this right now, because I don't
Right.
know the art festivals that are going right now.
Yeah, Karen and I called all of them, and you know, I spoke to several of them. Karen has spoke to several of them, and they're very appreciative that we're doing this.
That's good.
So,
Uh,
is there any other questions for me?
Any other questions for Nancy? Any comments?
Have you started using the hotspots? And I guess
Yes.
I'm not sure what the hotspots are for parents to check kids.
Yeah, we
in, or
went
is-
to a new system called ePact, where they do on an iPad, when they first come in, instead of them handwriting in, so that we didn't have to have them touching pens and all that, we went to an iPad, and they had to check in and check out their child, and it
Okay.
records them checking in and checking out their child, and they have to initial it.
Okay.
Well, all our sites do not have good Wi-Fi. So we went ahead and got hotspots so that we don't run our Wi-Fi works all the time. The problem is when it's not working, our staff had to use their own hotspots on their own cell phones. And they didn't like that. So we went ahead and got hotspots through I think Verizon is with the city. And the units cost $100, and then I think it's $50 a month for each hotspot, and we got 3 of them, and they're working wonderful. So it's not for the kids to access the internet. It's password protected. They only turn on the hotspot when the parents are there to pick up their kids or drop them off and pick them up.
Okay, so you feel like it's secure. I know hotspots can notoriously be, if they're not, handled.
They're
well,
secure.
these
Yeah.
are secure. Okay,
There,
good.
you have to have a password.
Okay, thank you.
Does that include the fitness center on West Main Street too, or?
No, because we already have Wi-Fi over there, and we
Okay.
have that's password protected as well, but we do give it to people who want to access Wi-Fi. We will give them the password. I mean, because there's not children in there. I mean, they just come in there to listen to their music, just like, at Planet Fitness or any of those other places.
Where's Megan?
You can't see me.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Megan.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you have to report, Megan?
Well, we are waiting to see what the schools are going to be doing. We have 3 weeks left of camp, so we are hoping to at least run before and after school on those 2-day weeks that the kids are attending. There's a couple of kids on IEPs going Monday through Friday, so we would offer before and after for them, but at this point we have no idea what the numbers would be, how many kids are actually going to school or doing virtual. I don't really know what my staff are doing, so I'm interviewing people just in case. We're hoping the numbers will go up, more than 9 per classroom, but we have no idea what's going on right now. So,
Well, I don't think that's unusual. One of my neighbors works at the board office, and she doesn't seem to know what's going on. And
yeah,
of course, it changes day to day. And then
every
another
day is different.
person around the corner works, I don't know, she does lunch monitor or something for
Yeah.
Loncoy School, and she has no idea what's going on. And
Yeah, it's just very hard to plan for it, but
I didn't ask them if they were getting paid because I didn't want to hear the answers. So
yeah.
I guess that, Jake, you got any comments on that? You know what they're doing? Or?
Honestly, I mean, it'll be up to the governor and we'll go from there. But I think if it continues on the way it is now, I don't see us going back for more than 2 weeks if we go back.
Yeah.
Just looking at the rates, if the rates are higher than when we left school, I don't know. Everybody wear your masks, I guess. That's all I can
Yeah,
say.
no kidding.
Yeah, well, the talk that I get, and it's probably mostly rumor, is that schools will probably start up, and then when people start coming down with
Correct. That's
seasonal
what I think.
flu
We'll
and
open up
everything
at
else,
least.
we'll just, by Thanksgiving, we'll just stop the school year and figure out something for January.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's I know I've been talking to Nancy with regard to stuff we're doing for our kennel club, and she's given me some good information. And all the different programs she works with, they have a different set of rules.
Yeah,
and it depends on the
It'd be nice
facility
to have
you're
a
in.
universal plan.
Yeah, and whether you're indoor or outdoor and all this kind of stuff, and it seems like once you figure out, I know that with the kennel club thing, once you do the research and figure it out, and someone types up an email, by the time you get the email out, it's changed.
Something changes. Yeah, that's kind of our approach with school. I've gotten 3 different memos over the summer, and each memo has said something different. So
Yeah, I think they had put something out as like a framework, but
Yeah.
lacking a lot of detail. I know a lot of young families are considering just homeschooling, period, because they don't like the notion of their kids being there with all the restrictions, and but they also don't like the idea of virtual learning. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, I saw or I heard on public radio, which probably a little more accurate than the internet, that Solon schools have come up with what they think is a pretty firm policy, is that parents will have to make a decision. You either do virtual or you come into school so many days a week, and they're splitting it up. And if you want to do clubs and activities, you got to go into the school building, and I don't know how that pans
pretty
in.
much our plan.
But I guess there was a lot of good reaction, at least, hey, somebody made a decision. So I don't know if the rest of the school systems are going to sit around and wait. It's kind of hard to make, and this affects Park and Rec too, it's kind of hard to make decisions when the rules are changing day by day,
True.
Okay, any more venting on that? Or well, if nothing there, then we'll move on to the next item, which is Kevin's report.
Yeah, the first item is the moratorium on the matching funds. We've talked about this previously. In the past, when a development happened within the city, we got a portion of money from the developer, and then the city would match that dollar for dollar. What happened beginning June 17th is the city is no longer giving their match towards any development, which at this point, there aren't many things happening within the city, but in the past, it's been over $1 million over the 20 years it's been in place. I talked to Hope today, and she informed me that attorneys at Water Haverfield are reviewing our current ordinance for its legal compliance. So I guess if they find out our current ordinance is legal, then we would just continue, hopefully, back with that same ordinance. I don't think the goal is to totally get rid of the city's match. Having not been here previously, I'm not sure why they thought what we had was not, say, legal, but I think there still is, I think council still wants to provide this opportunity to offer matching funds to our department. But it's probably 2 or 3 months out before they have a decision. I don't know if Gwen has any more information on it.
No, not any additional information. That council is supportive of Parks and Rec, and we want to, a couple of different council members and myself spoke up to make sure that council didn't feel that we didn't want to leave Parks and Rec in the lurch, basically is what it is. So there's a lot of sharing of different departments, and we've talked about that before with the service department and HR and legal and things like that. It's just that I guess this was predates before I started my term on council. this kind of discussion about this formula. So I sent an email with all the information that I had on it. But it sounds like you've talked to Hope, and it sounds like you've got more current information even than I do, Kevin. So
Yeah, and I had sent a memo to Hope and Dave Roller and Bridget, just requesting that we not be left in the lurch in the future. It's not a good thing, but right now there's not a lot of development happening, so we're not really missing out on any revenue per se. But if that turns around the next few months, it could be, I mean, it could be catastrophic if we get back to where we were, say, with developments a few years ago, and we don't get that 50%.
Mhm.
yeah, I think it sounds like we're not going to get any large tracts of. Can you hear me? Or we're not going to get any large tracts of development or housing development or things like that. Most of the property has been built on. I mean, there could be a couple of lots downtown, but over the last 20 years, if you look back 20 years ago, there was a tremendous boom in construction, and I think you're right. Most of that is really kind of has winded down. So I think just in the last few years, if we look at some of that, it's the amount of money Parks and Rec, I don't have the numbers or anything. Kevin, you'd be able to speak to that, has declined. So I don't think there's going to be like a big potential for a large match just because we don't have undeveloped acreage anymore the way we used to.
Yeah, and I included what we received year to date in your packet, so you can look at that. It's like $2,000 or $3,000 this
Okay.
year. My second item is the Portage Hike and Bike Trail. I included the contract in the packet. It's been approved by Hope. So I will send that back to ODNR. We're looking at hopefully getting this project underway with bidding next October and November. Open the bids in early 2021, and then maybe see a spring, summer construction and get the Brady's Leap project completed in 2021. My next item is the downtown gazebo. We have had all the wood painted. Now we have deck master working on the actual deck, the steps, the railings, the spindles. He started on Monday. I'm hoping they'll be done by next Monday. It's not a critical to complete at any certain time frame, but with the door starting, I think people will use that probably more than normal.
What company's working on that down there?
Deckmaster,
Okay.
Jimmy De Leon.
Mhm.
And they've been there all week this week, and I think maybe next Monday, Tuesday, hopefully they can finish. The Alvise walking trail, it's been 14 years since we did any work to that, so we filled in the low areas. We added some base gravel and some top gravel. Then we leveled the trail, then we rolled it. And there was a few areas we couldn't get the grass off, so Sam has sprayed that with a new chemical he purchased this year it's not Roundup. We've had quite a few compliments from people out there walking, appreciating what we've done to the trail. It was getting pretty bad condition.
Are those asphalt groundings or grindings?
No, they're gravel, a real fine gravel that they can roll. It almost turns into concrete
Mhm.
once it rains. I forget what number it is. Sam might know the number, but I don't remember.
Everybody calls it a different, we call it screening.
A lot of the bike trails have that on it.
Yep, that's exactly what it is, Pete.
Yeah, which I don't like because I have a road bike, but so we had a new bike or wider tires. I don't know.
The next item is the CDBG grant. We did receive the $15,000 from CDBG. We will match that with $15,000. And hopefully the city's kind of backed off its paving program for 2020. Our money doesn't come available until later this year anyways. So I'm hoping to combine our project with maybe their paving project and get a better price. Because it is CDBG, we have to pay prevailing wage and all those things anyway. So I think to combine with them might give us a better opportunity to get a good contractor and maybe a little better price if we went out on our own. There's not any questions on that. The next item is Debbie. She wanted me to bring this up. and she can talk to that.
Yeah, I kept meaning to bring this up sooner than this, but since I have a new deadline coming for my report, it prompted me to remember. So we have about $77 left in the fund that we had, a couple years back when we did our push for a wellness center. And it's not really gaining anything. I imagine that Hometown Bank wouldn't mind us closing it out because they're charging us nothing because it was for a nonprofit organization, and they're generating a monthly statement, etc. So if you guys are all agreeable, I'd like to have a discussion of what entities we might donate this to. We can give it to another, my understanding is another nonprofit type. We could gift it to the Portage County Park District.
I don't remember what we did the last time. I mean,
I don't think I was in charge of it the last time, so I don't know either, Pete.
yeah, and I thought we talked about donating it. I guess you can donate it or you can let it sit there. If you let it sit there, you have to file
Right,
forms
twice a
every
year.
year.
Twice a year I have to file on it. And it's not difficult. I print a form out and I fill it out and send it.
Mhm.
But Chris, hold on.
Yeah,
So-
usually they're donated if you're not going to use them again, you donate it to
Right,
another
that's kind of what we were.
candidate or some
Right.
other fund.
There's some restrictions on it, but it's pretty much a similar nonprofit is what I thought I understood from.
Yeah, I think either a nonprofit. I don't know. Somebody had dissolved one of those and threw it over to the Portage Park District.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking would make the most sense, was toss it over to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what is it, like $20 or something?
It's 77 currently. and
77.
Some odd change.
Yeah, well, it's probably.
I mean, if we were thinking of doing another push like next year, then it would make sense. I'll just keep hanging on to it and just file the reports, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, usually for our annual levies, we don't really do anything as far as signs go. But yeah, why doesn't Kevin? Why don't you think about that, and maybe next meeting we'll come up with a recommendation of who to give it to. Talk to Debbie, and she should be able to give you some guidance on that unless you have ideas already.
Yeah.
What is your deadline to file the next?
Well, I'm
report?
going to have to file by the 21st. So it's a moot point at tonight's meeting, other than to get everybody talking about it and come up with some ideas. So
I think
next
the
one
park
would be
district
January.
would be a good logical choice, since their mission's the same as us in most regards. If the board would be okay with that, that would save you having to do another report.
Yeah,
And we're
I
not
mean, that
generating
way-
any money.
Right. That way we can just gift it now, and this would be my last report. I'll just make a note of where it went.
And that'll close it out, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, to be legal about this, we should have a motion to dissolve the Political Action Committee and to donate the remaining funds to Portage Park District.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Kathleen, did you make the motion?
Yep. She did.
Okay. Okay, Kathleen made the motion. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Neil's got it.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Then motion passes.
I'll reach out to the folks at Portage Park District and make arrangements to gift it over. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
The next items on my report are properties. There's 2 properties on Gogler, 425 and 415, 417. They're up for auction on August 1st. We can't bid at an auction unless council approves it, and that's not going to happen by August 1st. The properties would be ideal, I think, for parking, especially when the Brady Leap segment gets finished. What I plan on doing, I'll go to the auction. I don't think the properties have a whole lot of value they've been there forever for sale. And I'll see if anybody bids. If they don't bid and they're still for sale, then I can come back to the park board next meeting. I've also talked to the city. They have some interest too. They would like to see those properties raised. They're really an eyesore. So maybe we can partnership with the city somehow. Since we're not getting our matching funds, maybe they'll pay for half of this.
So those are those two buildings right by the bridge,
Yeah,
right?
those two
Yes.
junk buildings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
brown one and kind of a block one.
Does anybody have a rich uncle that
Yeah,
could buy it for us?
I'm surprised that company didn't buy it, the neighboring company.
Oh, the
Yeah, I
water.
think they weren't interested. I think they were contacted, but they had no interest.
Huh.
I think what happened was the husband of the owners, the husband and wife, the husband passed away.
Mhm.
So the wife's just trying to just get rid of things like that she doesn't have any use for.
She was probably nagging him for
You know
10
what?
years.
If it's in the location where I think it is,
Mhm.
when they built the Fairchild Bridge, there was some land there that we talked about, and I approached Mr. Idoni about possibly putting in like a little amphitheater type thing there with some of the barn stones, which we usually call Idoni stones. And that wasn't received very well because there's no place to park really. But I mean,
It's a busy.
I guess it's something to look at. Maybe we can do something with it. And I would assume if we did buy it with those buildings, would probably be torn down and get them off the tax duplicate.
Yeah, that was the other, I guess, concern was even if we purchase the property at a minimum, there still would be quite a bit of work to do to tear those down
Yeah.
and grade them out and then build a parking lot. But we can look at that further. Debbie contacted me about it, but we just didn't have enough time
Yeah.
to move forward.
I had just found out about him recently. And Chris, my husband, was estimating that it would probably be close to 20 grand just dealing with the tearing down and hauling away the debris. 20 grand. I thought he said a piece, but maybe he was wrong on that.
Well, the other thing too is, and a lot of people run into this, they pick up these properties and then they find out that they really can't afford to tear them down because they're full of asbestos.
Mhm.
Oh, the owners?
Oh, yeah.
You know, before you start jumping in there and saying, hey, I think we got to buy these things, you've got to have somebody take a look at it and say, how much is it going to cost to actually tear these things down, you know? I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
The owners of
These
this
are just
property.
knocking these buildings down, you know, with a front end loader and hauling this stuff away. Those days are gone, you know. I mean, people still do it, but it can come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
What was your question, Jake?
Can we approach, do we know the owners? Would
Well,
it be
I know
feasible?
her.
I know you're saying that's, it's 20,000 to take down, but if we can say that they're going to donate it to the, and they take a tax reduction if it's so low.
Mhm.
I can imagine if that company to the left isn't interested in it, then who would want to buy that land?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's let the auction play out and see what happens.
Yeah, that's
then.
what I'm just saying. If if it does play out, that no one
Yes.
wants it.
I think that's a good idea.
Usually just prior to the auction, there's a period of time where people can go in and do their due diligence and take a look at it and see what they see. I wonder if there's that opportunity there as well.
I want to
Yeah, we
say,
can look into that.
I think the family is the Adair family that owns it, or it could be a connection to them. So I don't know if that's worth looking into.
We've had Peter Pano come in and look at properties for us too. We were looking at some properties down on Mogador Road before we built the maintenance center. And Peter Painter come in and I assume we paid him, but I think before we got someone to look in there, we would have to see if the city has an official inspector, appraiser type thing. Certainly want to work within the system.
I think the city might have had them appraised back when they were doing the path and doing the bridge. I think they have an appraisal. I believe I sent that to you, Debbie, maybe to look at, but I'll look at that closer.
I don't know if I saw the appraisal on that.
Yeah, I'll check further.
Yeah, I'll look back and see.
Okay.
I know what the county has them valued at, which is next to nothing.
Right. The final item is a donation of property on Fairchild. Bill Arthur of Trans Ohio Properties is offering to donate to the city a parcel they own on Fairchild Avenue adjacent to the park property. It's only about a third of an acre. It sits on the street. I talked to Sam about it. He said it would probably take them 2 or 3 minutes to mow it. So it's an opportunity to really add a little bit to our parks, the Fairchild open space area. But I would need the board to direct me to work with the owner. Then I would have the law director also work to make sure everything was done legally.
Is that, Kevin, is that parcel west of the park there?
Yes, it's between our,
Yellow line and the creek probably. huh?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
With this borders Fish Creek or?
It does not. It just borders, honestly, the
List
street,
property.
the list property that it's like a nature area. We don't really use it right now for anything. It's just, we have it looked at once a year by the Western Reserve Conservancy, just to make sure we're not doing anything that's against our deed. It just adjoins that property.
Gotcha. Okay.
If we acquired that, it would be, is there an easement on it or, I mean? or-
There is not, no, we just would,
I mean, will we put an easement on it so it can't be developed or?
yeah, I could talk to Hope about that. I don't think it's really developable. The guy that Trans Ohio has actually asked the property owners adjacent to there, and nobody is interested in it.
You know, that one piece of property, the old Liskip property, we're not even allowed to put a parking space on it.
Right. Yeah, we get that looked at once a year, and the guy will usually give us a list of some minor things that we need to do. It's usually invasive species, and but eventually it could be a trail.
I think it's worth looking at. Could we have a motion to
I'll make that motion.
empower Kevin to look into this?
I've got it.
Okay, Debbie makes the motion. Do we have a second somewhere?
Second it.
Okay, Kathleen seconds the motion. Any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
All right.
Okay, motion carries. Got any more, Kevin?
I do not. That's all I had.
Okay. One thing I wanted to clarify, I think Gwen mentioned it. You said that Hope has an outside law firm doing some looking into the open space ordinance or?
Yes, it's the Walter. Attorneys at Walter Haverfield are reviewing the current ordinance for legal compliance.
Okay, I think, there's a lot of background on that I don't have, but I was involved in it at one time and I don't have the resources to look it up. And talked about the court case goes back 2011. What that was, it was a situation where developers were saying, okay, we've got to kick in money and the city's kicking in money. And then another city says, well, the city's not kicking in matching funds. And so now the only thing that we would be at risk at probably would be the developer says, okay, we got to pay it, but these other places don't have to pay it. So I think that's probably what they're trying to work.
Yeah, I think that, and maybe the formula that John had kind of developed with help, looking at that formula to make sure that's, I guess, legal.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a ruling on the time because the only variables in it is the density,
Yes.
And there are some variables in there. I mean, we kind of played nasty with the developers on it because if they can't make up their mind whether how they want to comply, then the city had the right to come in and say, oh, we'll take those 5 lots right in the middle of your development in lieu of cash. And that would kind of upset you if you wanted to build homes on it.
Mhm.
So I think basically the way the legislation was fashioned is the city is pretty much in the driver's seat on that. And I had been in on a couple of the sessions when they were building some residential facilities south of 261, and it was very interesting. I'll put it that way. There were passionate arguments on both sides, and I thought after that those sessions were over that Mr. Idoni could have probably gotten an appointment to the Supreme Court. Mr. Williams did a great job too, but It was interesting. I'm glad that this is being looked into. You know, we don't want to expose the city to any litigation. That always costs money too.
Mhm.
Anything else? Nobody
I
else?
have nothing.
Okay. Well, seeing nothing else, then we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you for participating, everyone.
Thank you.
And,
Thanks.
even though
Good job,
Megan was
Karen.
hiding,
Good job, Karen. You did it.
Megan wanted to stay anonymous tonight.
Sorry.
She's sitting there in her jammies, that's why.
thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Everybody,
Thanks, Karen.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
See ya.